It was reported that the buzz around Arrowhead Stadium that night centered squarely on Taylor Swift rather than solely on the Kansas City Chiefs' looming preseason meeting with the Chicago Bears, and sources said that days of online chatter had primed fans and media to hunt for any clue she would appear after returning from the final European stops of her tour. While onlookers described the tense wait through warm UPS as every eye tracked the flow of arrivals, then witnesses recounted that a black SUV rolled to the secure gate, doors opened, and Taylor emerged in a simple black top and jeans, hair down, smiling broadly, turning toward the stands now humming with recognition, and observers mentioned she tossed playful kisses that ignited a roar, prompting a surge of phones and flashes as her route toward the suite transformed into an impromptu procession with people angling for photos. And commentators said her entrance overtook all pregame narratives, pushing the competition itself. Into the background, as short clips of her wave streaked to the top of trending lists, filling timelines from sports channels to entertainment sites, while stadium staff said even backups on the field snuck looks upward, repeating that the headline was plain. Taylor Swift had arrived at Arrowhead, and reporters relayed that her presence felt like extra octane for the building and the roster, with players stealing glances toward the suites and trading quiet smiles over who had the most famous spectator. And those on the sideline noted Patrick Mahomes looked sharp in drills as Travis Kelce flashed a grin toward the crowd, playing to the moment, and staffers on the Chicago side admitted that coach Matt Eberflus and rookie quarterback Caleb Williams kept attention on final prep but could not stop teammates from quick peeks up high at the spectacle, while suite-level accounts said Taylor settled in among friends, a few relatives, and Chiefs personnel, lifting a hand to fans between. Laughs with those beside her, and whenever the cameras cut her way the response swelled again, prompting another wave or smile that stoked volume across every section, and insiders remarked that anticipation swelled as Mahomes and Kelce rapped precision reps, Isaiah Pacheco loosened along the boundary, and the Bears' defense huddled tight for a last rally, while analysts previewed that once the game kicked, Mahomes would orchestrate a high-octane attack featuring Kelce's veteran timing, Pacheco's bursts, plus speed from Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice testing Chicago's edges, and team sources suggested the creativity and tempo would stretch a Bears unit eager to showcase new pieces against a premier offense, while Chicago backers emphasized that the Bears aimed to unveil Caleb Williams' poise as he targeted DJ Moore and rookie Rome Oduns, with Khalil Herbert grinding into Kansas City's front where Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and Nick Bolton anchored pressure and takeaway instincts, and several commentators highlighted the sideline duel of Andy Reid's inventive calls against Eberflus's structure and discipline as a subplot to watch, and as seats filled and kickoff neared, locals predicted Arrowhead's signature noise would crest on every third down, every chunk play, with the broadcast crew ready to splice each Chiefs highlight to a live shot of Taylor reacting above, her energy looping back into another round of cheers, while media crews ready packages that would splice football with pop culture beats throughout the night, and Chicago insiders admitted a fast start could snatch some spotlight and dampen the din, though Kansas City's faithful scanned for reminders of a roster primed to pursue another title and dissected every Mahomes throw for rhythm and chemistry, and pre-game segments framed the evening as larger than a preseason date, describing a collision of music celebrity and NFL ritual that would lodge in memory beyond the final horn, with bartenders around town already expecting post-game stories, fans planning to clip and send moments to friends, and many hoping for repeated sightings as the season approached, and team employees said everyone soaked up the scene because the next campaign hovered close in momentum, even of the cultural sort, mattered, while those inside and watching at home looked forward to memories not just about points and plays, but about a global star embracing the Chiefs community and turning a tune-up into headline fodder, and longtime followers commented that the blend of sports and pop culture rarely felt this tight, with Kansas City counting days to whatever came next, from the first hint on social feeds to Taylor's step through the door, a narrative assigned to her orbit, and the way her presence reframed an ordinary game into something fans would recall, as the organization, coaches, and supporters rode the crest, eyes already pivoting to the regular season and its promise of more unforgettable beats, and producers slid in a reminder to subscribe now for behind-the-scenes looks and surprise twists as the Chiefs defend their crown. Observers added that as the countdown kept sliding toward kickoff, energy mounted, the setting prime for football and music royalty to share the marquee under Arrowhead's bright lights, while ushers reported the upper decks and suites filling fast, each cluster swapping predictions about the first touchdown or whether the cameras would find Taylor after every Chiefs surge, and vendors in concourses said Swift-themed items thinned quickly as lines for snacks curled around corners with fans racing to settle before the anthem, and at field-level final checks unfolded as Mahomes and backup lane Gabbert rotated warm throws. Pacheco reviewed steps with his position coach, and the offensive line locked arms for a brief moment of focus, while across from them the Bears in navy and orange encircled Eberfluss, whose steady intensity guided Caleb Williams through the opening script as the rookie paused, drew a breath, took in the roar, and nodded to teammates, and the in-stadium program surged with a local band amping the crowd, fireworks scratching the darkening sky, and the announcer rolling through starters to cheers and, for Chicago, playful boos, after which the anthem quieted the bowl and the coin toss drew everyone back to the center. And people close to Taylor said the night doubled as a chance to decompress after months on the road while supporting Travis and soaking in Arrowhead civic spirit, with notable faces and local leaders drifting across suites and occasionally glancing over to clock her reactions. And beat writers reported that every cutaway to her suite reset the volume across the building, and every nod propagated through social snippets within moments, while equipment staff whispered that players sensed the lift and tried to channel it into crisp execution once the whistle blew, and strategists forecasted early scripted plays to test Chicago's leverage, set rhythm throws for Mahomes, and free Kelce on isolation looks, with Pacheco deployed to stress edges and Brown and Rice stretching safeties, even as Chicago's defense sought to crowd passing lanes and punch up the rush to disrupt timing. And on the flip side, sources said Williams would be measured early with quick reads toward Moore, occasional shots to Duns, and steady handoffs to Herbert to prevent third and longs against a front keyed by Jones's interior force, Karlaftis' push and Bolton's downhill fits, while special teams coaches eyed field position as a quiet battleground, and television producers mapped storyboards showing a timeline of Taylor's arrival to keep casual viewers hooked in the early series, and a mid-show editor dropped a brief subscribe nudge here for more live-in-the-suite moments and on-field pivots. After that, stadium techs noted the decibel meter cracked into familiar territory with the bowl primed to swell on every stop, while local radio hosts predicted that Mahomes would use tempo to trap substitutions and that Kelce might flex wide to force mismatches, and Chicago analysts answered that Williams' mobility could soften the rush and that Herbert's patience might carve creases if Kansas City overpursued, and public address clips teased fans to wave towels as camera ops tracked reactions in the suites, often catching Taylor in mid-laugh or clapping at a sideline exchange, and social editors pushed split-screen highlights within minutes, compounding the attention with each replay, while stadium security guided the flow around the suites as more guests tried to angle for a vantage point, and hospitality staff kept beverages rotating so the group could relax between surges of noise. And a sideline source mentioned that players told each other to treat the extra buzz as fuel rather than distraction, keeping cadence calls clean and substitutions crisp, and coaches kept rotating evaluations as rookies jostled for roles, with Chicago scanning protection integrity against simulated pressures and Kansas City gauging speed at receiver. And a league rep observed that cultural crossovers like this magnify preseason windows beyond routine evaluation, stretching attention into broader audiences that often park on a broadcast because of one face. And the building pulsed as final moments ticked away, with camera crews aligned to pour fresh cutaways into the broadcast at drive change transitions, while writers framed LEDs that placed the evening in the space between football business and celebrity gravity, and a second quick subscribe prompt popped here for viewers tracking both angles in real time. Sources continued that the stadium's layered spectacle heightened every minor beat. A coach's headset tap, a receiver's grin, a defense huddle clap amplified by a new shot of Taylor's suite, and interviewers positioned near tunnels to grab comments about the atmosphere, with some players quipping that their families texted mid-warm UPS asking if Taylor had arrived, and merch managers whispered they were nearly tapped out of certain items before the kick, while ticket staff grinned at the way a preseason draw turned into a citywide moment, and the press box keyed on the coaching chess matchup, primed to note how Reed sequenced motions or how Eberfluss rotated coverages to cap Kelce. and a content team prepared sidebars about Arrowhead's decibel.